So Caitlin Clark has been one of the best rookies in the WNBA. Has she been the best rookie? I think so, but if you want to argue no, then that's fine. The big difference between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese is Angel Reese has been consistently great. She has had very few bad games, and even her bad game, which I didn't think she had a good game yesterday, is 18 and 11. I know a lot of it was in garbage time, but still, she got cooked by AJ Wilson. Everyone gets cooked by AJ Wilson. But her bad games are still decent games, whereas Caitlin Clark has dropped a few stinkers. But I do think Caitlin Clark, when she gets hot like she did in the second quarter yesterday, she just looks like, at times, like one of the best 5 players in the league, but also can be completely taken out of games. So who is the best rookie? I don't know, but it's very clear amongst NBA or WNBA players who their favorite rookie is, and it is definitely not the person on screen right now. Before we get on, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're trying to hit 13,700 subscribers by the end of the day. We are only 10 off. So when it comes to Caitlin Clark, I just saw this right here. She was basically asked about, do any vets give her advice in game? And this is what she said.
The best advice a vet has given you in game this season?
Nobody gives me advice in game. I wish.
She didn't say none of the vets give her advice in general. She didn't say nobody gives her advice. She just said specifically in game. But it does seem from what we are reading that like Caitlin Clark is like the person she is relying on and using to talk to get through this rookie season is Kate Martin. Obviously, the two of them are talking to each other constantly. Two of them are best friends, both of them in the WNBA. And like, I'm talking a little bit later about that. I think if Kate Martin wasn't in this league, wasn't going through similar things, Caitlin Clark would struggle. But also, at the same time, Caitlin Clark is looking at Kate Martin in Las Vegas, seeing the vets on the team embrace her. And I think that that's part of the reason why a lot of it doesn't feel like she has any mentorship, is that the team doesn't have vets. Like, the only like real vet on that team, as far as on the court, is Temi. And it's very clear that like Temi's trying. Temi is trying, like. And then off the court, obviously Erica Wheeler is taking her under her wing. It's just the problem is Erica Wheeler is not very good at basketball. But look, they're the two vets on the team. They are the two vets. And if she went to an organization, I'm just looking at like the other teams. Like the Chicago Sky have Teresa Weatherspoon, who is, again, one of the greats in this league. So she is that kind of veteran presence for a lot of their players. Like Marina, like you've got Marina Mabry, who's like the Draymond Green almost of WNBA. You've got Kennedy Carter, who's been kicked off of a bunch of teams and has suddenly had a complete rejuvenation of her career and has been exceptional. And then obviously Liza Angel Reese really suit that team. I genuinely think that giving Caitlin Clark to someone even like a Teresa Weatherspoon, a player's coach, would have helped her. Whereas like Teresa Weatherspoon's not the greatest X's and O's coach in the world, but she's a player's coach. I think there are two places where there are two absolutely incompetent coaches. I don't think the Sparks coach is great, but there are two incompetent coaches in the WNBA, and it's the Mystics coach and Christy Sides. They're both absolutely incompetent. And I think in a lot of situations, but at least if you go to the Mystics, you've got Ariel Atkins there. You've got a guard that's probably as good as you that is matching up with you and is not like an absolute ball hog. You've got Dolson there, who is a vet. And then if you go to, for example, obviously the Aces, you've got a whole bunch of vets. But it is like, I think more so than anything, it's very different with rookies and vets in general. Because like Caitlin Clark is not someone she doesn't seem to be nearly as outgoing as Angel Reese. She doesn't seem to be nearly as outgoing as Cameron Brink. So she's probably not going out of her way to make relationships with these vets from her end. But there are some vets that clearly resent her. And there's no question about that. Diana Taurasi very clearly resents Caitlin Clark. But like AJ Wilson, I don't think is probably the biggest fan of Caitlin Clark. But at the end of the day, you've seen the likes of Tina Charles, one of the best players to ever play. Well, one of the best, probably 40 players to ever play. You're hearing Diamond DeShields, who's Angel Reese's teammates praising Caitlin Clark. Like, if this Chicago Sky team despised Caitlin Clark, I think they just got too hyped up for that game with the Kennedy Carter hit. If they actually despised Caitlin Clark, Diamond DeShields wouldn't have spent 30 seconds praising Caitlin Clark. So, like, I don't think there is any absolute hatred there. I just think it's a situation where it's like Caitlin Clark's not going to be the one to, a lot of the time, to initiate the conversation. So she's just kind of ignored. I don't think it's a resentment. So, and there's even like, you said nobody gives you advice in game. Like, at the end of the day, in game, There's a difference between in-game and advice in general. It says when the vets were willing to give advice, it was tough and learning process. People called them jealous and haters. No, people called them jealous and haters when they said, reality is coming. When Diana, it was the words where reality is coming. You look superhuman against 18-year-olds. You're not going to do that against us. And I mean, she's been one of the best rookies ever. But to say that no rookies have talked with, and obviously,
Best advice that Bet has given you in game this season.
Nobody gives me advice in game. I wish.
Like her saying nobody gives her advice in game. But at the end of the day, like obviously, Sabrina Ionescu is probably the perfect person to talk about, because she was not to the extent of Caitlin Clark, but she was Caitlin Clark before Caitlin Clark. She was the player that was like championed by Kobe. There was a reason why the Sabrina 1 is the shoe. The reason why Sabrina got that shoe first before A'ja Wilson. Not that she's a better player than A'ja Wilson. She was the original Caitlin Clark. That deal had probably been in the works since she was at Oregon. You've got, I would say Kelsey Plum, but Kelsey Plum is on the Aces. But like Caitlin, please go Liberty. If Caitlin Clark replaced Vandersloot for the Liberty, as good as Vandersloot is as a point guard, that team would be unstoppable.
I mean, she's just starting her career, and obviously how she's been able to push the game forward is amazing, and doing that in college and breaking so many records, and knowing that she's just scratching the surface of what she's going to accomplish in the league. And you know, she knows I'm always rooting for her, and you know, I've reached out. We you know, we're pretty close, and I just want to kind of be that person that she could always lean on. And obviously there's competition, but I think she knows that I'm always in her corner. And the league's tough, the league's hard. She has a target on her back, but you know, I know she's going to be able to take care of her business. And there's obviously going to be kind of struggles, and she's going to have to figure out what it takes to be a pro, but there's no one, you know, more equipped than she is to be able to do that.
Like, that is for people saying like jealous and haters, that is the perfect way to describe. There's going to be struggles, what it takes to be a pro. Like, that is very different than Taurasi's reality is coming quote. But it is very clear there are WNBA players that would be willing to be mentors. It probably is a case of Caitlin Clark not going out of her way to reach out, because if you've seen just the way she is with her teammates off the floor, if you've seen the way she was with Team USA, with all of her Team USA team, if you see the way she is off the floor with her Iowa team, like, all of her teammates, almost all her teammates get on with her. I say almost all because I just don't know with this Fever team, but every one of her teammates seems to get on with her. She was like the Team USA. She seems like she's just a good person off the floor. Obviously, the way people play basketball is very different, and the situation in general around this whole thing is different, but it's very clear that, like, look, these vets aren't going to go out of their way because they want to compete with Caitlin Clark, and especially with some of the vets with A'ja Reese. Like, I'm not going to lie, if you're A'ja Wilson, you're at this stage in your career where you can completely embrace A'ja Reese, because you know you're not competing with A'ja Reese, because you know you're a lot better than A'ja Reese. But I'm telling you, if in 2 or 3 years A'ja Reese develops a jump shot with her ability to seal her defense, and suddenly she's in that top 1 or 2 WNBA players in the world, oh, I think some of these vets are going to be, or some of these vets, especially at their position, are going to be a little less buddy with A'ja Reese once she, like, gets a bit more of a game. Like, A'ja Reese is great right now, but there is still a gap between her and the top players at her position. When she gets that, I don't think they're going to be as buddy. And you can see why, based on this entire situation, why Caitlin Clark was proactive in reaching out to a Juju Watkins. Because Juju Watkins is going to be under similar pressure to Caitlin Clark. Like, Paige Becker is going to be under probably the most pressure outside of Caitlin Clark, other than anyone, including A'ja Reese. She's a bigger name. Juju's a bigger name than Paige Becker's. And then Flau'jae the year between that. So it's going to go Paige Beckers, Flau'jae, and Juju in the next 3 years. And Caitlin Clark's obviously trying to get that relationship started now, because especially, again, if you are, like, it's probably a bit different with Juju or Flau'jae, because, again, they played with A'ja Reese. They've got some links, because, like, Morrow's going to go to the WNBA as well, and Kiki's going to be there, so they've played with a lot of college players. Whereas Caitlin Clark has never played with a WNBA player other than Kate Martin. I know Gustafson was there before it. And they didn't go to a UConn or a South Carolina or even like an Oregon, where so many of the players end up in the WNBA. So it is a big thing. It is an important thing to talk about. But at the same time, look, these players are looking to compete with Caitlin Clark in game. I think really that's what she's been saying. And I think the players are more competitive individually. Other than Alyssa Thomas, who chokeslammed Angel Reese, I think the players, they don't, like, and this is going to be a case where I think the buddy stuff with Angel Reese stops very soon. I think it happens even with rookies in the NBA. Like, no rookie is going to come in and instantly, like, just dominate against pros. Or not even dominate for a really good team because they get sent to bad teams. But, like, I genuinely think that she just needs to keep doing her. She needs to keep doing her. And it's good that she has Kate Martin. It's good that she seems to have a decent enough support system. I think both her parents have been heavily involved in sports. Look, her boyfriend was a top 100 recruit. Like, she's surrounded by people that know about the pressure of sports. And it seems like she's surrounded by a good group of people. So I think it's either going to go one of two ways. I think she's either going to be one of the greatest of all time or she's going to be out of the league by 25. And I hope it's the former. I really do hope it's the former. But yeah, it's not disappointing to hear that the vets aren't going out there and being buddy-buddy with her. At the same time, nobody is obliged to do anything. But at the same time, to say, this was her just talking about in-game. And to say, like, her saying nobody helps her in-game. But to say that none of the vets all hate her. None of the vets are talking to her at all. Like, look, we've seen it with Sabrina Ionescu. We've seen some of the greats praise her. Look, she's one of the best rookies of all time. Nobody's going to question that, especially rookie guards of all time. So, look, it is what it is. So, anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.